How's it going, everyone? Unretired here, and today I'm here to showcase my level 60 Nightblade build. Alright, so I have had several comments. When am I going to be posting it? Private messages. When am I going to be posting it? I'm posting it now, right? So I'll be showing you point distribution on the talent tree. I'll be showing you stats, gear, and I will also be showing you devotion, which celestials have I actually taken for my build. All right, it'll probably be different from yours. It really depends what kind of playstyle that you have. But as you guys have noticed from my 40 to 50 to 60, it is mostly burst. I love the Nightblade, very burst damage, very glass cannon. For that reason, from 50 to 60, stats wise, I went more in physique than anything. I put all my points into physique, as I was just going down way too quickly. Even if it isn't not hardcore, it gets quite annoying just dying all the time. So just because you're not paying attention or you think you're invincible, which you almost are, I guess. But it's pretty awesome, just like mowing through people down, mowing through the mobs very quickly. So stats wise, like I said, went more for the physique. My cunning's almost at 1,000 with the current gear that I possess. So I guess it would be a good opportunity to show you guys the gear that I have. Not much has changed from 50 to 60. I did have a duelist saber as my main hand, but I was looking for something that would give me more of a DPS boost, and this dropped the Chonakri. It's not exactly what I want. Obviously, I would prefer something that's more melee heavy. However, it does give me an extremely big boost in DPS. So I was glad to change it for my other duelist blade. It gave me quite a big boost. Chest piece hasn't changed. Still have this. I wish I could replace it. Still waiting for a drop. You know, as you guys know, I'm very unlucky with drops. Yay. Pants, still nothing. It would be hard to replace the pants, just because of the amount of cunning that's on it. Plus 63 cunning, plus 2% cunning. It's pretty good. Plus a 30% cold damage on it, and the pierce damage. It's hard to replace. It really needs to be very good for me to replace it. Hand wraps, still the same thing, still the same one from level 50. That has not changed. Still the same rings, Black Watch seal, Harvest Blade seal. I still have my Avarice of Andronus, that gives me +1 to skills. Still have the Blood Reaper's cowl. Reason being that cunning is amazing. It's just amazing. I love cunning on these Nightblades. It makes me attack so quickly, and you go through mobs so quickly. But anyways, if I find something, I will replace it. As of right now, nothing. I did replace my shoulders. I had a +1 to Shatter Strike. However, I went for the Outcast Chill Pauldrons. Reason being is that I found a newfound love with Amarasta Blade Burst. I found it so appealing because I can just do my shadows. I do my Shadow Strike. I'll do my Lethal Gambit, which in Para has points in Amarasta's Blade Burst, and you're just mowing through mobs. And I also do my Ring of Steel, and plus my auto attacks. It's just great. I did replace my boots. They sucked with Desecrator Threads. The great armor on it, total damage, physique, offensive ability, movement speed. Has retaliation. Doesn't really do anything for me, but whatever, it's still good enough. Still the same metal, Devil's Badge of Frost for the +1 in dual blades. Unless something else drops, this is what I'm keeping. I have a mythical relic, Nemesis. Now this is if you're a Nightblade, this is what you need. You need to replace the one that you had before for this one. Plus 20% pierce damage, 48% cold damage, plus 48 cunning, 2% total speed, +1 to all knights skills in Nightblade, plus 20% damage to humans. You're not really... half of the mobs in Act 4 are humans, so this is pretty good. You can summon one manifestation of Nemesis at any time, which I have not put, which is really dumb. Give me a second, which is right here. So if we pull it up here, look at that guy. He's purple. Purple and blue. I don't know. Purple, blue. Purple, blue, right? Purple, blue. We'll just do purple, blue. And I got a Shadow Stalker's belt. My belt was really low on damage and whatnot, so, and this one adds pierce damage, crit, more pierce damage and percentage. Again, more percentage damage to humans, plus 18 cunning. Pretty low on the scale on the plus cunning. But what I do like is that my Shadow Strike, the +1, is replaced by a +2 to Shadow Strike. So I'm kind of gaining. I lost one. I'm gaining one. So it's I'll say +2, but it's kind of +1. But anyways, and I get +2 to Shadow Dance, which I do not use unless I'm going for a more tanky-ish hybrid character. Then I would consider it. So as for points, let's look at my point distribution. Now I have max in dual blades, max in execution, rolling death. Anyways, with my points, I got 11 out of 8. 11 out of 8 Amaras's quick cuts. Whirling death, I got 8 out of 8. For lethal gambit, I'm at 15 out of 16. Don't forget the pluses in these pieces of gear. Amaras's blade burst, I went for 12, plus I got 2 points, so I'm at 14, which I love. I only put 1 into Ring of Steel, but with the +1s, it gives me 16, 3 on 16. Shadow Strike, I put 1 plus 2, so I have 3, and it adds but the +1 skills up to 6 on 16. Max Pneumatic Burst, 1 into Veil of Shadow. Max Knight's Chill, a must. 1 into Blade Barrier, which I call the what the fuck skill in case you need to pot or regen HP. Max into Anatomy of Murder. Max into Merciless Repertoire. And I mean, it's pretty much, I don't want to say the same build. The build from level 50, it wasn't adequate enough. I saw that you guys didn't like it too much. I took off this Nightfall and stuff. I didn't really need it because you're doing so much damage. Alright, so you're probably waiting for Devotion, and here you go. So for Devotion, obviously I got my max 25 points, because that's only 25 points you can get at the moment. So at the crossroads, which is right here, you have a choice of defensive, health, offensive ability, 15 offensive ability again, and plus 5% health. So we call these the Ascendant, Chaos, Eldritch, Order, and Primordial. So where did I put my points mostly? So I put 1 point into Crossroads, and 1 point in Crossroads, 1 point into the Order, and I put 1 point into Ascendant. So what did I start off with? Well, I got for Hammer, which is a no-brainer because plus 10% physical damage, plus 20% internal trauma damage. It's not super important for me, but if I was low on damage, it would be much better. And plus 10% physical damage, plus 15% internal trauma damage. So the reason being I took this one is mostly for the damage, the physical damage, and my completion gives me 4 in Ascendant. Now, what else did I take? Well, I went for the Assassin's Blade. So Assassin's Blade, it gives me first point plus 10 offensive ability, plus 10% pierce damage. Don't forget, the build heavily depends on cold damage and pierce damage, okay? And plus you're dual wielding, so you need that pierce. Plus 10% pierce damage, plus 10% bleeding damage, which the bleeding damage is not too important. Yet again, it's more for the pierce damage. Plus 20% bleeding damage. Okay, it's just a bonus. But what I do love is the Assassin's Mark. Mark your target for a swift and painful death. And it's bound to my execution, and execution procs very, very often for me. So that's pretty good, especially if you're going on a boss or a nemesis. Very good. Minus 45% physical resistance and minus 45% pierce resistance. Now, you're probably asking yourself, does that stack with the aura? From what I've seen, when it does proc, the boss and whatnot tend to go down really quick. So I would have to say yes. Would take a bit more theory crafting and examples and whatnot to actually see if it actually stacks. But to my knowledge, from what I've seen, it does seem to stack. What else did I go for? So I went for this one, Hammer. I went for Assassin's Blade. Afterwards, I went for Harpy. So Harpy is Ascendant points. So 15% plus 15 offensive ability. Pierce 15% pierce damage plus 15% cold damage. Don't forget, I do cold damage, so it was important to have this for myself anyways. Plus 10 cunning, plus 10% pierce damage, plus 10% cold damage. All in all, for 4 points, this is very good, and completion gave me 5 more points into Ascendant. So where did I spend my other point? Well, afterwards I went into Panther. Panther is part of the order. So I went for 10 offensive ability, plus 8 cunning, plus 8 spirit, plus 10% total damage, and it increases your energy regeneration by 10%. Well, it's a pretty good bonus, the 10% and the 10% total damage I love. Plus 20 offensive ability. So I would have to say it's like this, like a Panther and Hammer. I feel as if they're more like filler celestials to get to your skill base, the skill based ones. This one I totally wanted to have it because of the piercing cold damage. Now, the remainder of my points went into Assassin. As a Nightblade, you know, you see yourself as an assassin, so you need. I needed it. I wanted it. I needed it. I got it. So, what are the points? Plus 15% pierce damage. Yet again, good for the build. Plus 15 cunning. Plus 15 offensive ability. Plus 30% damage to humans. Very good, because half of the mobs are human. Plus 5% cunning. Yet again, good for the build, stats-wise. Plus 20% pierce damage. Yet again. And the other one, the skill here is Blades of Wrath. 50% chance on critical attack. And I do lots of critical attacks, so it procs quite often. Not as often as I would like to, even when I'm critting. So I think there's a bit of a bug regarding it, but doesn't really matter. It procs enough times for me. So it's a 2-second skill recharge, 12 projectiles, so it just bursts into a circle, and it hits everything in its way. And it's quite strong too. 100% chance to pass through enemies, and it does. 15% weapon damage, so that's 169 to 192. I also have 509 to 633 piercing damage. So, and it's only at level 7, so these skills are leveled up. So let's go kill some mobs. Alright, won't be too long. And I always use pneumatic burst, you know, so I can regen health and whatnot. As you can see, it's quite quick. Don't forget, we are glass cannon, so it is gonna hurt if you jump into like 20 something mobs. Even at the amount of mobs that I have here, the one that I hurt the most is the range. Obviously, you will go for your range first. So as you can see, it's quite good. I mean, I'm not having any difficulty on veteran killing mobs. And as you can see, if you get frozen, you die. But that's not a really big deal. Like I've mentioned before, it is glass cannon, and it's more of you want to have fun, just seeing those mobs pop And it's very good in the groups because you'll be going in, attack, boom, you want to get out because you don't want your health bar to actually disappear just like it did right now. And so that was actually a good example of probably the only weakness I would have to find about the build is the lack of defensive ability. But again, glass cannon, that's what I went for. That's what I love about melee characters. I can probably tweak it to go more defensive if I went with Shadow Dance, but it would not make that much of a huge difference. I would have to get a Phantasmal Armor and Shadow Dance, and that's 24 points that I'm not really willing to sacrifice for the enjoyment of the build and gameplay. So I hope you enjoyed the video, guys. Don't forget to subscribe for more builds of Grim Dawn for Grim Dawn. And again, I'll see you in the next video.